Hey there, Frozen fans! I decided to put up this little story I wrote for Anna Kristoff. Since it's one of my favorite Disney movies, I wanted to share this with you all. So here it is. Anna sat by the edge of Shadow Lake. She wore her best summer dress and hiked up her skirt to her knees so she could dip her feet in the cool water. Summer had been unusually hot that year, but she seemed to be the only one to notice. She thought at first that she was coming down with something, but she had no fever, and most of the time she felt fine. She thought perhaps it was the fact that she was in love, really in love for the first time in her life. She started to hum a tune to herself as she sat there thinking about her beloved Kristoff. It wasn't long before she heard a male voice behind her. She jumped, more so from being embarrassed that someone caught her singing than anything else. She stood up and saw Kristoff standing there smiling at her, and not one of his sarcastic smiles, but a genuine one. "Sorry I'm late," he said, as she straightened her dress. "That's all right," she said, a hint of bashfulness in her voice. She wasn't usually shy around people, but Kristoff did something to her, something she couldn't explain. "So why did you ask me out here?" He stepped forward and took her hand as they sat together. "Do I need a reason to be alone with you?" he asked. She laughed a little. "No, but you have been acting funny for the past few days." "How so?" he asked, and looked out at the water. "Like you're hiding something from me," she said, as he jerked his head towards her and looked at her in shock. She only smirked at him. She so loved to tease him, one of the things she knew he loved about her. He had told her so on their first date. "Okay, you got me," he said, and he looked away from her for a moment. "There's been something I've been wanting to tell you." She placed one of her hands on his, and with the other she tenderly turned his head towards her, so he had no choice but to look into her eyes. "Then tell me." "Well, there's something I want to ask you," he said, taking both of her hands in his. He was stumbling over the words, but she just looked into his eyes warmly. "Just ask." "Okay, here it goes," he said, and then cleared his throat. "Anna, you know how I feel about you, right?" She nodded with a smile. "And I hope you feel the same about me." "You know I do," she said, and gave him a light kiss on the cheek. His face turned red, but he swallowed hard, determined to continue. "Anna, I want us to be together forever. I was wondering, would you marry me?" Anna's face lit up and she threw her arms around him and squealed. She had him down on the ground and gave him the biggest kiss. "I thought you'd never ask." They rolled around on the grass until he was on top of her. He stared at her for what seemed like the longest time and realized something. "Anna, you didn't answer my question." She looked confused. "Will you marry me?" "Yes!" she shouted. "1,000 times yes!" She sat there on the grass as he pulled the most beautiful ring she ever saw. He placed it on her finger and she looked up at him. "It's beautiful. I had to sell a lot of ice to get that," he said, as he helped her to her feet. "I'm never taking it off," she said as they embraced. After a time she broke away. "Come on, Kristoff." She took his hand and walked along, pulling on his hand. "Where are we going?" he asked. "We have to tell Elsa," she said excitedly. "Do we have to?" he asked. She stopped for a moment and laughed. "Of course we do. She's going to be so happy for us." He didn't look optimistic about the prospect of telling Queen Elsa that he was going to marry her baby sister. "Trust me?" "Always," he said, and the two walked hand in hand back to the castle. Well, this is the end, but I want to continue it. So please feel free to share your thoughts and comment in the comments, and remember to like and subscribe. See you later.